The Hornets keep rolling, go to 2-0 in district. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the Muenster Hornet Football Show, right here on L4 Media, as the Hornets dispatch the Hornets of era 54-16. The game was never really in doubt. Really good win for the Hornets, just simply because coming off of the big Kraut Bowl and all the emotions around that, and you see what happened to Lindsey the week after they lose the Kraut Bowl, they get beat by Collinsville, and I think a very surprising game. I had Lindsey winning that game. Collinsville's a great team, don't get me wrong. I just thought the way the district at least appeared to line up, it was going to be Muenster 1, Lindsey 2, and then Collinsville 3. But now Collinsville has the tie breaker advantage over Lindsey and head-to-head. And, of course, they're now thinking district championship because it's going to be them and them and Muenster next week, Halloween night. That will be should be for the district championship. But for Muenster this week, they got to take on another upstart team in Santo. They're 6-1, folks. This is a team last year that was 4-6. In 2023, they were 3-7. They'd had that real good run from 2018 to 2022, and then had a couple down years. But their backup, Coach Mann, does a wonderful job in Santo. And they're one of those teams, man, on any given Friday night, or now Thursday night being the case, is again, this game got moved up to Thursday. In fact, I'm recording this Thursday morning, trying to get it out quick because we always do our coaches shows on Thursday. But anyway, we're going to do what we always do, and that's talk to the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney. And we'll do that when we come back right here on the Muenster Football Show. Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe. Terry Bennett back here on the Muenster Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney. And, Coach, another big win as you go to 2-0 in district, 5-2 overall. You win 54-16. What were your thoughts on the Hornets win over the Hornets?
Man, I thought defensively, I thought we played the run really well. They did a good job of eating the clock up. Second and third down, or first and second down, they'd run it, spend that 40 seconds, gather them back up, and getting another play. So, just two plays, you're looking at a minute 20 plus whatever it is. So they would take 2 minutes in those first plays. And then they would, a couple of times, they hit screens on us for first downs, or we got a couple of pass interference calls, which allowed them to score a couple of touchdowns, one late and one in the second quarter. But I thought we played the run really well on defense, and offensively, we've been playing well on offense. We're built around a lot of explosive plays, and I think we ran 33 plays last week. We ran 39 against Lindsey and 33 last week, but that also goes back to what people are doing on offense by, running the clock as much as they can and trying to keep the ball out of our hands. But I thought when we did have the ball, we executed well last week and stayed away from turnovers, which we've been doing a good job of all year. And then special teams wise, I feel like we've gotten better throughout the year. We realized early in the season there are some things we need to work on, and we've spent time doing that. And I feel like we're getting better in those aspects as well.
You talk about how teams play y'all and basically try to slow play y'all and keep y'all away from having too many plays. I had sent you that stat I saw with Lindsey game, how many plays they had compared to y'all. As a coaching staff, when you are on offense, how do you balance not wanting to be too aggressive because, you don't want to have a 3 and out, but also getting frustrated because you're not getting the ball?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think our kids have learned to deal with it the last few weeks and what teams are going to do to us. So they know they have to take advantage of their opportunities when they're on offense. And we missed a couple early against Lindsey where we did go 3 and out and gave them the ball back with that really put us in a bind. Never did that last week against Era, and we need to continue to do that tomorrow against Santo. We just got to take advantage of each and every possession we get and try to put points on the board, and we did that last week. We failed a couple times against Lindsey in the first half. Second half, I thought we did a much better job. But no, I don't think you, as an offensive play caller, Coach Wheeler and Coach Hanley and those guys playing that, I don't think it changes your game plan. You just go try to score when you get the opportunity, and for us, we're going to always focus on running the football first. But there's going to be times where we can't do that. And our passing game the last few weeks have been really efficient. Our quarterbacks have done a tremendous job. I think we're completing probably close to 90% of our passes the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is pretty crazy to think about. But I think Kaysen was 11 for 12 against Lindsey. He was 8 for 9 last week, and then De Leon was about the same. And then our backup quarterback came out in the second half last week and was 4 for 4. So quarterbacks are doing a good job of executing when we need to throw the football.
We talked the week of the Kraut Bowl, and you talked about how important it is, and we talk about, the tradition and stuff. Last week shows, though, how having that big of a rivalry can be a trap game. Y'all got past y'alls, but then Lindsey ends up getting beat by Collinsville.
Yeah, I just started the film this morning, and it looked like Lindsey played, fairly tough in the first half. Looked like they missed an opportunity in the red zone with a fumble. Collinsville looks really good on film, but Lindsey missed a lot of tackles, and looked like they had a kid out, the fullback, the ice kid, number 9. So Metzler and the new kid had to play the fullback position, which looked like it may have affected them on defense a little bit, conditioning wise. But it's one of those things with a bigger rivalry game. You hope, win or lose, you can get past that the next week and continue to play well. Not saying Lindsey didn't, but Collinsville, because Collinsville was a good football team. But we were able to execute last week at a high level and take care of our business, and that's just what we got to continue to do all year.
All right. Well, we keep talking all year about how tough this district is. Your opponent this week is one of the reasons why Santo last year was basically already playing out the string at this point. This year, they've almost got a playoff spot locked up. They're 2-0 in district. They're 6-1 overall. What do you see on film when you look at the Wildcats?
Yeah, you're right, man. It looks like every week we just step up and play somebody. They're either 5-1, 6-1, or just have one loss or 2 losses or no losses. So we've been on a long stretch of really good football teams, and this week is the exact same thing with Santo. I think you and me have talked about it before. I feel like Coach Mann does a tremendous job out there, and I feel like Santo's a program that kind of gets overlooked on occasion. They've been consistent in their coaching staff. Coach Mann's been there as the head coach, probably 11, 12 years, but he was there before that as an assistant. They've been running the same offense now for 15 years, probably the same defense for the most part for 15 years. So those kids grow up learning that system in 7th grade, and they stay consistent with it. And, man, every time I play them, I just feel like they do such a good job with their defensive line. Their front on the defensive side is always so tough for us to block up front. Hopefully this year it's different. Hopefully we're ready to roll come tomorrow night. But no, just a really good football team. They run flex bone stuff. They run some triple option stuff, midline veer. Got a really, really athletic little quarterback this year. I think he's a sophomore. He throws the ball well too. So they are throwing the ball just a little bit more than what they have in the past. But just really well coached, play extremely hard, and I don't expect any different tomorrow night, to be honest with you.
And you talk about their triple option, something you don't see a lot of. I bet this week it's a bunch of eye discipline and stick with your pitch men. Is that what y'all working on?
Yeah, and that's that's one thing. We did play Lindsey 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And they run a lot of the same stuff. So for us, we took a week off, then we get to see it again. If we had saw Lindsey, 5 weeks ago and then come back to it, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned. But we run our inside veer midline period like we did against Lindsey, for 10 minutes a day, every day, where we go through and see the veer midline over and over. And kids, if you're responsible if you're unblocked and you got to tackle the dive, you got to tackle the dive. You can't be upfield, let them get under you. Quarterback is the next guy you got to get to with a defensive end or outside linebacker, and then we got to rally to the pitch. But just very disciplined football on the defensive side. And like I said, we played Lindsey a couple weeks ago, so we've been working it now for 2 out of 3 weeks. So I feel okay with our kids knowing how to defend it. But you still got to do your job, man, and it makes it tough. One person doesn't do it, and they can take it to the house. So be a tough assignment football for us like this, like you said earlier this week. But I think we're up for the challenge.
All right, last question. This game was moved to Thursday. Does that change anything with y'all's game prep, or have y'all already pretty much did everything y'all wanted to do installing the game plan?
Yeah, like I said, I feel okay with it because we did play Lindsey a couple weeks ago, and we were able to see it then. So I feel okay with it. But, it just shortens everything up. And like we treat today like we would a Thursday, where we do our walkthrough, our run-through this afternoon, go through all our special teams, offense and defense, and talk through things and make sure we're good for tomorrow night. But I don't think it changes just a ton, because you're going to run into the same thing in the playoffs where you have to play on a Friday than a Thursday. So our kids are kind of used to it. So no, I'm not too concerned about it, but I may be tomorrow night after the game. So I'll let you.
As always, I want to thank Coach Carney for joining us here on the Muenster Football Show. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, you can email me, terry@s2ssport.com. Also, check out our Sideline to Sideline show. We cover 2A, 3A, and 4A. Sometimes it's in 3 separate shows. The last couple weeks, it's been in one big show. We'll go back to separate shows, especially during the playoffs for the first few rounds, because there's just so many games to talk about. And speaking of the playoffs, we pick every game in the playoffs. Now, we don't do a big in-depth on every game. Of course, that would take too long. And in the first round, there's a lot of walkovers. But we will make predictions of every game in the playoffs, starting with round 1. We'll have our annual Sideline to Sideline competition where Coach X joins in. He's a real coach, and he likes to send us little funny things, but he joins in on the pick competition. And it's all fun and games. So please check out that. YouTube.com/@L4 Media Company, or on all podcast platforms, or on our own podcast page, S2SGrantandTerry.com. The YouTube is video. The rest is audio. All right, that's going to do it for this week on the Muenster Football Show.